the thing that set you off. I love that training aid. One of my clients gave me one, and it's just been phenomenal. How'd you kind of come up with that? I know you are a fan of swinging more of the mass of the golf club, more so than pulling or rotating the body a little bit harder. And you talk a lot about releasing. Was that one of the biggest things that you came of and what you saw with that Saber trainer?
Yeah, I think a lot of golfers, that I was working with were struggling with the concept of guiding it. I just hate to see somebody guide the club. I hate to see manipulation of some kind, or, I hate to see that if they're compensating for equipment that doesn't quite fit them, or maybe a coaching method that they've been told is, the next best thing, and they're doing all these compensations and manipulations and essentially, guiding and slowing down the club head. It just, basically makes me want to throw up. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, make it easy.
I look at somebody, who's just, who has some just general solid athletics. They're not completely foreign to the idea that you can take a stick and swing it and smash it into something. The swings that I see on the driving range look so contrived that, I decided I needed to come up with something that would be like a swing laxative and just completely unclog and free up the athlete. So a lot of times I would find myself on the driving range and I would say, look, if I gave you a sword and I said, and put you in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, where I was actually born, and I said, I need you to take this machete and I need you to hack your way through the underbrush here, what kind of movement would you make? And I just found that all of a sudden my students were just unlocking this reckless abandon and this freedom that they could just smash away at something because they weren't all tied up and clogged up with, technique or mind, things that they were thinking of in their head. And so I thought, well, that's what I'm going to call my trainer. I'm going to call it a Saber because it's like a sword. And if I could actually hand somebody a stick like this and have them swing with reckless abandon, their club head speed would go up, their fear of collision. A lot of people have what I call impact anxiety. They feel like they need to control that moment of impact when impact, whether you're guiding it or freely swinging, is still a millisecond, by the way. It doesn't, the impact time doesn't take longer just because you guide it versus smash it. So with the Saber swing trainer, that was my first, launch into product that really helped my students free up their swings and helping them understand some basic fundamentals like how to hinge their wrist properly, how to do it athletically with power and freedom, instead of, thinking that, if I accomplish the perfect backswing, everything else will work from there, which is just a load of BS. I see so many people trying to hit that perfect backswing position, and then they don't know where to go from there. And my coaching method has always been based on full release of energy, which really needs to be clarified, for your listeners. Release is to let go. It's very simple. You release something, you let it go. You've held it or you've loaded it, and now you're releasing it, which means you're letting go. So there's a lot of confusion out there because people think that release is some type of pronation, supination, rolling of the wrists. And that it's so far from the truth, that a lot of people focus on that. And a lot of coaches will say, oh, I need you to release the club like this.
Yeah.
Well, that's a that's a rollover. You're teaching a rollover or some type of manipulation of the club. You're not actually teaching release of energy, which is actually what the release is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's more their way of doing it or way of speaking of it is almost like a squaring mechanism. We're trying to figure out how to square the face more so than unwinding the energy or unloading the energy. I always was a fan, worked with Jason Woodsack for a short stint while I was out here in Arizona at Camelback, and he always talked about Emmanuel Del Toro, and he used to throw the golf club down range. And just so many players that he had do that used to throw the golf club way over their lead shoulder, up and high and left, and then he would just release that energy, and that golf club would get tossed straight down range. And he did it extremely well. Obviously, he was a long drive guy for a period of time, but it always reminded me of the way you spoke of the golf swing and the trainer, which was just phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a collision that's about to take place, and it's not just with the ball. It's usually with the ball and the ground. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are just not prepared for that. And if I gave you an axe and said, I need you to collide this axe with this trunk of the tree, and I'm going to give you $1 million if you can knock this tree down in one strike, you're not going to leave much in the bag. You're going to haul off and smash it. But at the same time, there's an athleticism that directs the blade of the axe. There's an athleticism that directs the face of the club through the ball. And like I said, impact is still the same millisecond, whether you guide it or you smash it. So I really feel like I've been a good coach to my students, helping them to understand that, helping them really unclog that, because when someone works on these positional, parts of the golf swing, and they lose sight of the idea that it's still a stick and it's still a ball and you have to whack it as far and straight as you can, they start getting a little paralysis by analysis, and it really just destroys the fun of the game. Yeah. And it's been hard for me to watch, and at the same time, it's really helped me be successful as a coach, because I've taken that approach, which is a lot of times refreshing for my students. They'll say, well, I've never heard that before, or nobody's ever told me that before. So I don't know, it's just a fun way for people to really release energy. And I'm really happy that my swing trainer's been able to help a lot of people all around the world now understand that, maybe for the first time.
Yeah, I know. I like that analogy. I use that a lot, like with the axe in the tree, because you wouldn't want to hold your wrist angles to try and chop that tree down. You're going to let everything go into that tree and really unwind it if you want to knock it down as fast as possible. And that kind of goes back to similar to a baseball swing almost. Did you have a background with baseball when you grew up?
Yeah, I mean, I played all sports, but growing up in Australia, I played cricket. That would be my stick and ball sport. Yeah. A lot of cricket, a lot of tennis, table tennis. I ran track. We won a state championship in the 4x100. I swam. Just in general athletics. But as far as stick and ball, I mean, that's the thing. You're, like a baseball swing. When I played at the PGA Championship at Bellerive, they asked me to do a segment on TNT about, what could I teach people that were athletes that were maybe not your traditional golf viewer. And I picked baseball as my correlation between golf and just an athletic movement. So being a trick shot artist, I hit a bunch of balls out of midair with a baseball bat on the 17th hole at Bellerive, and then hit a bunch of drivers out of midair, which was kind of cool, at a major championship. And that correlation between hitting a moving ball with a full release of energy really shouldn't be any different than when you're hitting a stationary ball.
Yeah, I saw that video. It was pretty cool, just hand-eye coordination. I mean, did you have a lot of practice, or do you use that when you taught with juniors, to where you'd have more hand-eye coordination drills just to get those striking skills, and not really too much about obviously the positions and technique of the swing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of people, juniors for sure, because it's just fun, and helps to keep them engaged. But just even last week, I had one of my adult students who, was seeing a really well recognized instructor, was just so clogged up with all these thoughts and ideas and angles and paths of attack and all this kind of stuff. And so I just took him out to the range and started rolling balls along the ground and said, all right, go ahead and hit it. And the first two swings, his feet were planted in the ground, and he was looking at me like, what the heck is going on right now? And I said, look, just hit the ball. And after, 5 or 10 rolls of the ball past his feet, he started realizing, oh, this is a game. I can take this stick. I can take a cut at it. And, like most people who are athletic, he just started striping it down the fairway. And we did that maybe 20 times. And then he looked at me and was like, really? It's that easy? I can just stand up here and do that? And I said, yes. I said, all this stuff you've been working on only makes sense when you're drawing lines on a screen. You're not actually being an athlete. I said, we need to give you a heavy dose of swing laxative. You need to just get out there and swing the club and stop trying to guide it. So that was a blast. And, and that was just recently with an adult golfer. So it works with everybody.
Yeah, freeing up their mind a little bit more. I like that concept. Going back to the PGA, was that the first PGA championship that you played in?
Back last year?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, Belle Reve was my first one, 2018, and then I played Bethpage this year in 2019.
So going back into those, like the second one, did you implement something different than what you did back in 2018 for your strategy going into 2019?
Yeah, for sure. Playing in my first major, I wanted to do well, just like anybody. I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to randomly hit any spectators.
There's a lot out there.
When Tiger Woods is only a couple of groups in front of you at Belle Reve and there's thousands of people lining the fairways, the thought does cross your mind. You're like, if I just hit this in the middle of the rough where the spectators are standing, somebody's going to get hurt,
Right.
It was interesting at Bethpage. Bethpage was what felt like a little bigger golf course than Belle Reve, because a lot of times at Bethpage there was only spectators on one side of the fairway. But my mindset in Belle Reve was, just play good golf, let your putter do its job. I ranked pretty highly that week. I think after my 2 rounds, I was 36th in total driving for Thursday, Friday, which was really good. Hit a lot of fairways and hit the ball pretty far there. When I went to Bethpage, that was just a beast of a golf course. In my practice round during a little bit of rain, I hit driver 3 wood, driver 5 wood into 3 really long par 4s. I think the shortest club I had into a par 4 might have been a 7-iron. So the golf course was just playing really wet and really long, and I took a different mindset. I said, I don't really care how I finish. I'm either going to win or I'm going to go home. At Belle Reve, I missed the cut by just a few strokes, and I went home. I said, I don't want to go home barely missing the cut. I either want to get all the way up the leaderboard, or I want to go home trying, right?
Yeah.
And so at Bethpage, I just let it. I swung as freely as I could. I remember at Belle Reve in my first PGA, it literally took me about 25 holes just to stop being nervous. Because there's just so many people and you're playing with such great players. Just took me a long time to kind of settle down, and the nerves that you feel kind of just feels like an electricity that's just kind of buzzing in your body that doesn't really go away, and it amplifies at certain times. Like on the first tee shot, it feels more intense. Maybe over an important putt or a short putt, it feels more intense, and that really didn't leave my body until, at Belle Reve, until I had played basically 2 days, and then I had to return out on Saturday morning to finish my last 6 holes. And those last 6 holes, I was not nervous. And then this year at Bethpage, I was only nervous for the first 5 holes of the tournament. After that, I was not nervous at all. And so the nerve level, I became more comfortable with it very quickly. On one of my practice rounds, I played 9 holes with Adam Scott. And, I think all the hundreds of people that were following were really following me, but they, Adam just happened to be there. So when you're playing alongside such a quality guy and a quality ball striker who has such a big fan following, I think that practice round also helped me settle in a little bit better. There's just so many cool things, inside the ropes at those types of tournaments that money just can't buy. So I just feel extremely blessed to have, experience 2 already, and I'm hoping to continue that on.
Heck yeah. What did you learn from Adam Scott in that round? Did you learn anything that morning?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned that, he hits a very tiny Titleist blade and he just crushes it. And so after I played with him, I decided, all right, I'm going back to a blade. If Adam Scott can hit a blade like that, I can hit a blade like that too. So after probably not having blades for maybe 10 years, I went back to blades this year. And it's actually helped me. I feel like I'm hitting the ball better with the blade than with a cavity back.
Really? That's interesting.
And then the other thing that I learned was just how it's so hard for somebody like that to balance being a nice person and also doing your job. Like Adam is capable of winning, multiple majors. And he has such a fan following that, it's hard for him, after the second or the first green, a group of little kids said, "Hey, Adam, can we get your autograph?" And he said, he was all about business. He said, "You know what, guys, I'll sign all the autographs after my practice round, hang out, watch us, follow along. That's fine. But I'm at work right now and, I want to get my work done." And then on the 4th hole, it's par 5. He was about 50 yards ahead of me walking up with his caddy and his coach and his trainer and his whole entourage. And the same little kids were like, "Hey, Adam, can I get your autograph?" And so he was like, "All right, come on." And so he called a group of about 4 kids from the spectator lines, under the ropes. They ran over. He signed all the autographs. These kids were doing cartwheels and high-fiving each other on the way back to the tree line. And, it just struck me as, what a professional he was. Obviously how blessed he is to be able to do that for a living and do it really well. But at the same time, how he seems to have struck a pretty good balance of life and his professional career as a player, with, also being a fan favorite, et cetera. So, lots of really cool things I learned from him and just in 9 holes.
That's awesome. That's very, very cool. Did you guys have a relationship both being from Australia prior to that?
I talked to him at Belle Reve the year before. He actually went to the same high school that I went to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the coolest things I think is the Coralvin International School where I went to school. I graduated from there in 92. He didn't graduate from there until maybe 5 or 6 years later. But from that same high school, which was kindergarten through 12th grade, would have been no more than 350 kids, right? So maybe 60 kids in each graduating class. I went to school there, then Adam Scott did, and then Stephen Bowditch and also Jason Day. And
wow.
So to have, and then there's been multiple other guys that also went to school there that played on the Australasian tour, Asian tour, et cetera. So pretty cool to have an alumni like that from such a small high school.
That's unreal. Must be something in the water down there.
I know. What's going on down there?
Yeah, no, it was such a wonderful experience. It was a very, very small, semi outback boarding school, and we did specialize in sports like golf, cricket, equestrian, track and field. We had Kathy Freeman was in the year above me, and we ran track together. She went on to win a gold medal in the Sydney Olympics. I believe it was in maybe the 200 meters. And then actually my brother, Scott Hocknull, came out of that school as an academic and won the Young Australian of the Year award as a young paleontologist. So that school has turned out more than just those handful of people that I've mentioned, but yeah, pretty cool thing.
Very, very cool. So what's next for Craig Hocknull and Saber Golf?
Yeah, so I'm excited about how the putter's been going. It's been going great this summer. The club that I teach out of in Park City, Utah is called Glenwild Golf Club and Spa. So Glenwild's the number 1 ranked course in Utah. And so the membership up there have been tremendously supportive of me and my tournaments and training aids. And they've been the early adopters of the Saber Hawk and the Saber Cat putters. So that's been great. I'm actually working on a wedge design as well. So probably in the next 6 months to a year, we'll have a really cool short game wedge that I'm working on. But really, just sticking with what I feel are really, really high quality, made in the USA products that are just really born out of, if Ben Hogan dug his swing out of the dirt, I feel like I've dug these products out of the dirt. I feel like, necessity is the mother of invention. And for me, if it's been necessary to putt better, I've come up with training aids to help me putt better. I've got a putter that's helping me putt better. I'm working on a wedge that's going to help me have a better short game. All these things are just born out of necessity of me trying to play my best golf. So there's probably no end to what those resources are going to look like. Just really, really happy with how things are going. So I'll just keep changing golf lives, one person at a time. And I really appreciate you guys having me on to share my story a little bit with your listeners. And who knows? I mean, if nobody else is listening, maybe the two of you guys will actually be better golfers just from listening to some of the stuff that
That's the whole reason
about,
for the podcast, Craig. We're just trying to get better.
It's just for Kurt and I, nobody else. we want to know the secret to the fitting system. That's what it is.
Yeah, no. So to all 4 people that are listening right now, hopefully that really helped you.
Right. Well, thanks, brother. We appreciate you coming on. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, best thing to do is go to sabergolf.com. I obviously would love some more followers on Instagram. So Saber Golf Company is my Instagram handle. And then from there, you can, also follow on Facebook and Twitter and all of that. I'm very receptive to helping people. So I like responding to my comments on my YouTube channel, which is Craig Hocknull Golf on YouTube. I've got a following there. So check out all my video resources and follow along on social media. That way you can stay in touch with all the new cool things that are coming out.
Awesome, brother.
No, I'm looking forward to that wedge when that launches out there. So we can save some strokes around the game. But no, I appreciate you coming on and learning about your products. So I look forward to using them some more. I know Kurt's got the Saber trainer, so I'm gonna try it out here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things. Just try to get better, just a little bit every single day. And then before you know it, you're, hoisting trophies and cashing bigger checks. So that's always a good thing.
That's always a good thing.
I love it. Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see you in the next event. All right. And good luck this weekend up in Utah.
Yeah, appreciate it, Craig. Good luck at the PPC. We'll be looking for you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate the love. I hope you guys do great with your podcast and change more lives through it as well. That'd be great.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to follow and subscribe so you automatically get notified of the newest episode drop. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next episode.